Many people wake up feeling tired, a bit slower than before, with colder hands and feet, and assume this is just what time does. After many years working in healthcare, I have seen something very clearly that most of these changes are not simply from getting older. What I hear each day sounds very familiar, like sleeping enough, but still feeling worn down in the morning. Some people say it is hard to focus early in the day. Others notice their energy fades quickly after just a few hours. The truth is, many people grow so used to this feeling that it becomes their daily baseline. They quietly shape their routines around that steady sense of tiredness. But the body does not naturally slow down just because another number changes each year. There is one very real factor shaping alertness: hand warmth, focus, and daily energy, and it begins right in the morning. Morning is not only about taking in fuel, it is when the body sets its rhythm for the entire day. That includes how blood sugar rises and falls, how inflammation behaves, how circulation moves, and how the brain stays awake. When that rhythm drifts off course, you feel it through small signs like sleepiness, poor focus, cold hands, and heavier movement. The encouraging part is that change does not have to begin with medicine or complicated steps. Many people find that small choices at breakfast can gently shift how the body responds over time. In the next part, I will explain why morning plays such a powerful role in your daily rhythm. I will also show why a simple bowl of oatmeal, prepared the right way, can make a clearer difference than expected. One thing many people do not notice is that the body begins setting the rhythm for the entire day right after waking. It does not start when you leave the house or after the first cup of coffee. It begins with what you put into your body during those first few minutes of the morning. At that time, blood sugar starts to shift in a noticeable way. Inflammation activity in the body is set at a certain level for the day. Circulation begins to pick up. The brain also moves from a resting state into an active state. When this rhythm is set in a steady way, the mind feels clearer and the energy stays more even through the morning. The body is also less likely to drop suddenly into fatigue halfway through the day. When that rhythm drifts off course, even with enough sleep, sluggishness and poor focus appear more easily. It can also take quite a while before the mind truly feels awake. In everyday life, many people put most of their attention into dinner. Morning is often handled quickly and without much thought. That makes sense in daily routines. But biologically, morning is when the body is most sensitive to nutrition. It is also when small changes can create the greatest long-term differences. The important thing is that not everything has to change at once. Many people find that adjusting just a few familiar morning choices leads the body to begin responding. Not overnight, but in a steady way as energy becomes more balanced and fatigue slowly eases. Among all morning options, oatmeal works as a very solid foundation. Not because it is special, but because it allows several key nutrients to come together in one simple meal. Next, I will go directly into each ingredient that can pair with oatmeal. I will also explain why each one shapes energy, mental clarity, and the way the body feels throughout the day. When it comes to breakfast, many people think first about eating enough or keeping things quick and simple. But the real difference is not how much you eat. It comes from what you choose to combine together on the plate. The same bowl of oatmeal can lead to very different results through the day. That depends on what you add alongside it. Some ingredients shape how steady your morning energy feels. Some help keep blood sugar from dipping suddenly halfway through the day. Others support focus and help the mind stay clearer. There are also ingredients that change how the body feels, especially when you first get moving. Over the years in my work, I have seen something very consistent. When the role of each group of ingredients becomes clear, eating stops being automatic. Food choices become more intentional without feeling complicated. And that small shift, repeated morning after morning, is what creates lasting change. Today, I will share 7 specific ingredients that pair very easily with oatmeal. Each one influences energy, mental clarity, physical comfort, and daily rhythm in its own way. After that, I will also share 3 complete morning recipes you can use right away. Each one fits a different concern people often care about. And we will begin with the first ingredient. It is something very familiar, yet it is often underestimated for how strongly it affects both energy and blood sugar in the morning. The first ingredient is something almost everyone has used at some point, which is cinnamon, especially Ceylon cinnamon. Most people think of cinnamon simply as a spice that adds fragrance. In reality, it has a very clear effect on how the body handles energy early in the day. The first thing I pay attention to with cinnamon is not the flavor. It is how it affects blood sugar. After waking and eating breakfast, blood sugar naturally tends to rise. When that rise happens too quickly, fatigue can follow not long after. Cinnamon helps slow that process down so blood sugar rises more steadily instead of climbing fast and dropping suddenly. When blood sugar stays steady, the difference becomes easy to notice. Energy feels more even. Mid-morning sluggishness happens less often. The mind feels clearer without that heavy, foggy feeling. There is also less reliance on coffee just to stay alert. This is why many studies show that cinnamon can improve insulin sensitivity over a relatively short period of time. Another important point is that cinnamon contains antioxidant compounds. These help calm inflammatory activity in the body. That plays a direct role in the feeling of heaviness many people notice in the morning. To use it properly, only a small amount is needed. About half a teaspoon each day sprinkled onto oatmeal after cooking is enough. If possible, it helps to choose Ceylon cinnamon because it is lighter and easier to use daily. Next, we will talk about another ingredient. This one shapes not only energy, but also mental clarity and the feeling in the heart through the day. If cinnamon helps the body handle energy in a steadier way, the next ingredient clearly shapes alertness and the feeling of lightness in daily movement, which is blueberry. What stands out first about blueberries is their deep color. That color is not just for appearance. It reflects a high level of antioxidant compounds, especially anthocyanins, that help protect the inner lining of blood vessels from small daily strain. When that inner lining stays healthy, flow through the body feels smoother and the sense of heaviness tends to ease. In real life, many people begin to notice changes after a few weeks of adding blueberries to breakfast. Focus often feels easier. The heart rhythm feels steadier with light activity. Midday fatigue also becomes less common, not because blueberries create sudden energy, but because they help the internal environment work more efficiently. Another point is that blueberries support natural vessel relaxation by encouraging the release of nitric oxide. This plays an important role in how the head feels, the chest feels, and even how the body moves. For simple use, about half a cup of fresh or frozen blueberries can be sprinkled directly onto oatmeal. There is no need for syrup-soaked varieties. There is no need for added sugar. The natural sweetness of blueberries is enough to make breakfast feel pleasant. Next amount, we come to walnuts. This is an ingredient closely tied to mental sharpness, focus, and the sense of steady strength through the entire day. Walnuts are one of the few foods that clearly affect both the brain and the daily function of blood vessels. What makes walnuts different is not their crunch or flavor. It is how the fats and amino acids inside support circulation and oxygen delivery throughout the body. One especially notable component in walnuts is L-arginine. Inside the body, it takes part in the process that produces nitric oxide. This is a signal that allows blood vessels to relax in a natural way. When this process works well, flow becomes smoother and the brain receives oxygen in a steadier way. This is why many people notice better focus and a clearer head when walnuts stay in their morning routine. Walnuts also provide omega-3 fats and several antioxidant compounds. These help reduce daily strain on the vascular system during movement and activity. When the internal environment feels less tense, the difference shows up as steadier energy and a lighter feeling in the head. It also shows up as better stability while moving through the day. For simple use, about 4 to 5 walnut halves each morning is enough. They can be broken into small pieces and added to oatmeal after cooking to preserve flavor and natural compounds. It is best to choose varieties without added salt or sugar. Next comes ground flax seed. This is an ingredient that clearly affects blood cholesterol and the feeling of warmth in the hands and feet each day. Ground flaxseed is one of the simplest ingredients to add to oatmeal, yet it has a very clear effect on how the body handles cholesterol each day. When finely ground, flaxseed acts like a small sponge inside the digestive system. It helps hold on to some excess cholesterol before it is absorbed into the bloodstream. This matters because cholesterol does not cause discomfort right away. It changes the internal environment slowly. So many people only notice when clearer signs appear later. With regular flaxseed use, this natural clearing process becomes more active over time. That helps reduce long-term strain on the vascular system. Some studies show that after only a few steady weeks, LDL levels begin shifting in a more favorable direction. Flaxseed also provides omega-3 in the form of ALA. This supports the inner lining of blood vessels and helps them remain soft and flexible. When the vessel environment flows more smoothly, cold sensations in the hands and feet often fade gradually. Many people notice daily changes, such as warmer hands and feet and lighter breathing during movement. There is also a greater sense of balance inside the body. For proper use, it is best to choose ground flaxseed. About 1 tablespoon each morning mixed into warm oatmeal is enough. Whole flaxseed passes through the system too quickly to deliver the same effect. Because flaxseed contains natural oils, storing it in the refrigerator helps preserve its quality. Next is chia seed. This small ingredient has a very clear influence on blood sugar levels and daily digestive comfort. Chia seeds are among the smallest ingredients in a bowl of oatmeal, yet they create clear changes in blood sugar handling and digestive comfort throughout the day. When they meet liquid, chia seeds expand and form a natural gel. This structure slows the absorption of carbohydrates. As a result, blood sugar rises gradually rather than spiking quickly and dropping suddenly. When blood sugar stays steady, the body avoids sudden fatigue, trembling, or that drained feeling mid-morning. Many people notice that after using chia seeds regularly at breakfast, energy feels more even and hunger arrives less quickly. Cravings for sweet foods also tend to soften over time. Beyond blood sugar control, chia seeds contain a very high amount of fiber. This helps the digestive system move more smoothly. When digestion flows easily, feelings of heaviness or fullness after eating often ease in a noticeable way. That shift alone can make a big difference in how the body feels during the early hours of the day. In real life, chia seeds rarely make a loud first impression. Yet over a few steady weeks, many people feel a deeper sense of internal balance taking hold. Breakfast feels lighter, energy holds steady longer, and focus comes more easily at the start of the day. For simple use, 1 small spoon of chia seeds can be sprinkled directly onto oatmeal after cooking. You can also soak them in water the night before, so they are ready to add in the morning. Next comes turmeric starch. This ingredient has a very clear effect on inflammation inside the body and on daily joint comfort. Turmeric starch is one of the ingredients that affects how the body feels at the very start of the day, especially in the joints and ease of movement. The main active compound in turmeric is curcumin. This compound has been widely studied for its ability to calm inflammatory reactions inside the body. Inflammation does not always show up as clear pain right away. Many times it appears as morning stiffness, uncomfortable movement at first steps, or a heavy feeling lasting through the early hours. When curcumin is added steadily in the right amount, the internal environment gradually becomes more balanced. Over time, those uncomfortable sensations often soften. In real life, Many people notice that after a few weeks of adding a small amount of turmeric to breakfast, movement feels smoother upon waking. The body no longer needs as much time to loosen up and find its rhythm. That lighter feeling does not come from stimulation. It comes from the internal environment becoming less strained. Another important point is that curcumin is also linked to balance within the brain. When overall inflammation settles down, many people feel the mind grow lighter and mental steadiness last more evenly throughout the day. For simple use, about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric starch each morning is enough. It can be mixed into oatmeal while it is still warm. When combined with a small amount of fat from milk or nuts, absorption tends to improve. And right after turmeric, we move on to pure cocoa powder. This is an ingredient that directly affects blood flow to the brain, memory, and daily feelings of motivation. Pure cocoa powder is one of the ingredients that clearly affects how the mind feels and the level of drive at the start of the day. The biggest difference with cocoa is not its bitterness or familiar chocolate scent. It lies in its natural ability to support blood flow to the brain. Cocoa contains a high level of flavonols. These compounds have been studied for their role in helping blood vessels relax more effectively. This allows better blood flow and oxygen delivery to the brain. When this process stays steady, many people notice clearer alertness and better focus in the early hours. They also feel that mental processing becomes smoother during the first part of the day. This is not the sharp stimulation felt from coffee. Cocoa creates a clearer head in a gentler and more comfortable way. It does not make the heart race or cause jitteriness. In real life, many people notice that when cocoa is added to breakfast, mood becomes more stable. The mind feels lighter. Motivation for early daily tasks often becomes more noticeable. Another benefit of cocoa is its support for emotional balance. It does this through its influence on neurotransmitters connected to mental state. When mood stays steadier, energy often feels more sustainable instead of rising and falling sharply. For simple use, about 1 small spoon of pure, unsweetened cocoa powder is enough. It can be mixed into oatmeal after cooking. It is best to avoid pre-mixed cocoa products with a lot of sugar. Those versions reduce the benefits that pure cocoa naturally provides. At this point, you have now gone first through all 7 key ingredients that can be paired with oatmeal in the morning. Right after this, I will combine these ingredients into complete breakfast formulas. Each one will focus on a specific concern that many people deal with every single day. When we look back at all the ingredients we have just gone through, one thing becomes very clear. None of them are rare. None of them are unfamiliar in a regular kitchen. But when they are placed in the right spot and at the right time, they begin to work in a very different way. What I see most clearly is that change does not come from one single ingredient. It comes from how these parts support one another. When blood sugar becomes steadier, the head feels more comfortable. When digestion runs more smoothly, energy feels more sustainable. When inflammation settles down, the body feels more at ease with every movement. And that is why many people do not need to change everything in their life. They only adjust one single breakfast. Then the change quietly spreads through the rest of the day. Right after this, I will combine these ingredients into 3 complete oatmeal formulas. Each one will focus on one very specific concern that many people deal with. And the first formula will go straight into the concern that most people think about first when morning health comes up. The first formula goes straight to what many people care about most when morning health comes up. It focuses on circulation, heart rhythm, and blood pressure throughout the day. This is also the most foundational formula because it does not affect just one organ, but the overall feeling of the whole body. The oatmeal begins with the familiar base that many people already know well. Cinnamon comes next to help keep blood sugar steady right from the start of the day. Blueberries add antioxidants that help the inside of the blood vessels feel more at ease. Ground flaxseed supports the natural process of clearing excess cholesterol from the body. A few walnut halves come last to support vessel flexibility and the flow of blood to the brain. When these ingredients work together, the change usually feels steady rather than sudden. Hands and feet often feel warmer. The heartbeat feels calmer, and the body feels less heavy at the start of the day. Right after this formula, I will move to one that focuses directly on blood sugar and morning energy. This is something many people experience every day without always realizing what is behind it. The second formula focuses on a problem many people face each morning, with blood sugar rising and falling and energy dropping quickly after a few hours. This often does not cause pain right away, but it clearly affects alertness and the ability to stay steady through the morning. The base remains oatmeal to create a stable feeling of fullness from the very start of the meal. Chia seeds are added to slow carbohydrate absorption, so blood sugar rises gradually instead of spiking and crashing. Cinnamon continues its role in keeping blood sugar steady from the first few bites of breakfast. Ground flaxseed supports the internal metabolic environment, and a few walnut halves help the energy last longer without sudden dips. When this formula is used consistently, many people notice their mornings feel lighter and less shaky. There is less lightheadedness, less early hunger, and fewer moments when energy seems to suddenly drop away. The energy does not surge fast, but the truth is it tends to stay steady much longer. Right after this, I will move to the third formula, which focuses directly on joints, sleep, and how the body feels upon waking. The third formula focuses on a group of sensations many people notice at the start of the day. The body feels stiffer, the joints do not move as smoothly, and sleep the night before does not feel truly deep. These signals do not always appear together, but when they do, the morning often feels clearly heavier. The base remains oatmeal to keep energy steady through the early hours. Ground flaxseed continues to support the internal environment, so the body does not feel weighed down from the very start. Turmeric powder plays the role of calming inflammation and directly affects how the joints feel during movement. A small amount of pure cacao powder helps increase blood flow to the brain and supports a steadier mental state. Finally, a few walnut halves tie everything together with an even and lasting flow of energy. When this formula is used consistently, many people find their mornings begin lighter and their joints move more freely. The overall feeling in the body often softens in a clear way. Nighttime sleep also tends to become more stable over time. Right after this, I will talk about the real changes many people notice after keeping these breakfasts for a long enough period. After keeping these breakfasts for a long enough time, the first thing many people notice is not a number on paper. It is the way daily life begins to feel different. In the morning, the body no longer feels as heavy as it used to. Hands and feet feel warmer. The mind settles into its rhythm more quickly. Starting the day feels noticeably lighter, many people find that their energy no longer rises and falls in sharp swings. Midday fatigue shows up less often. By the afternoon, there is still enough clarity to work, walk, or handle daily tasks without feeling forced. Sleep at night also tends to grow steadier over time. That restless, broken feeling often fades. The truth is, these changes do not come from a strong or sudden measure. They come from a steady adjustment made each morning. When the body settles into a more stable rhythm, everything begins to work together more smoothly again. From this point on, breakfast is no longer just a meal. It becomes a habit with intention. That is what I want to continue talking about right after this. When breakfast is repeated with purpose, it stops being only about eating. It becomes the first message you send to your body each day. Today will move at a different pace, a steadier pace, a lighter pace, a pace with fewer disruptions. With just a few minutes each morning to prepare a simple bowl of oatmeal, you are doing more than feeding the body. You are resetting how the body responds to the entire day ahead. From energy levels, to mental clarity, to how movement feels, to how rest settles in at night, what I see clearly is this. When a morning begins the right way, the rest of the day often moves more easily. And from that very small starting point, the way you step into each day begins to change. From just one bowl of oatmeal each morning, the way your body responds to the entire day can begin to change, not in a sudden or dramatic way, but in ways that feel real and steady. You may notice clearer focus, less fatigue in the middle of the day, easier movement through daily activities, and a more comfortable feeling as you move towards sleep at night. The truth is, the body adjusts very well when it receives the right signal again and again. And breakfast is the earliest and clearest signal it receives each day. If today you choose to begin again with one small change at breakfast, you are not only choosing a different food, you are choosing a different rhythm for your entire day. And over time, that very small choice can create a difference that you can truly feel.